Well, it's Saturday. I've got my Asylum 13. This is the Connecticut wrapper, the wrapper of choice for yours truly. And I got a few things to rant and rave about regarding, well, the current occupant of the White House, the soon to be president, and the entire plan of how they're going to try to steal this one. Stick around.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth. I'm surviving on the top of the line.
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty, and welcome to the Afternoon Drive Weekend Edition. Glad to have you along. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That'll give you notification of my rants, my ravings, and of course, my undeniable, flawless reasonings. Hey, please like and share this video. That's how we get the word out that we're here. Thank you so much for sharing our videos. You're helping us grow our channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, there's not really much to say about the so-called State of the Union. It was a complete and total farce. I don't know what type of amphetamines that they are doping Obama Biden up on, but apparently they've really revved up the cocktail now because they wanted to prove that he is this old but very energetic man, and he's with it, and he can stand up there for a couple of hours and not walk into the walls or shake hands with people that aren't there. He can do this. Well, what he came across as is the ramped up, angry old man, get off my lawn, and lie. There's no point even trying to break it all down. I mean, he insulted the representatives of the Supreme Court who were there, and I don't even think that the liberals on the court appreciated what he did to them when he basically threatened them with, "You're about to find out how much political power women have in this country." And of course, that was a slam over abortion. And in reality, that is a winning issue for the Republicans had they framed it right, but they didn't. And of course, now we get to take a loss on something that was an actual major victory. But I'll get to that. As we wrap up our not much to analyze on the so-called State of the Union, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene went after him for waiting to about 45 minutes into his speech to even get to the border crisis. The number one issue in every poll, in every primary, no matter where in the country, completing in like the middle of the country, places like Virginia, the number one issue that people are concerned with is the border, the border, the border, the border, the border. And why? Well, it's obvious for border states, but in non-border states, these people are filtering into the country, they're being dumped off, and it is the local residents who have to then figure out what to do with them, how to house them, how to care for them, etc., etc., etc. It's bringing all types of crime. It's bringing the fentanyl and illegal drugs that are pouring in here now. Not to mention, we don't know how many illegal soldiers and insurgent fighters are coming in to wreak all kinds of havoc in our nation. And so it's the issue everybody's concerned with. And Joe Biden, 45 minutes in to his speech, he gets around to it. And Marjorie Taylor Greene just wasn't having it. And she let him have it. Say her name. Say her name. He was even given a button that had her name on it. Many members of Congress were wearing the button with her name on it. College co-ed, state of Georgia, going for a run, killed by an illegal immigrant. Couldn't say the name, finally got it out. And then he used the word, he talked about how tragic it is. And again, he has to put himself into a situation that doesn't involve him, but he has to put himself in there. I know what it is to lose a child. No parent wants to go through that. Yeah, well, your child didn't die in Iraq the way you like to say he did. Beau Biden was an adult male working as, what was he, the Attorney General of Delaware, I think. And he died of a brain tumor. It's tragic. And on that level, I feel empathy for the president and his family. But he wasn't a kid. He wasn't young and just starting out in life and cut down either by war or by an act of illegal aggression. No, he got a disease and he died. But he wants to insert himself, Joe Biden does, into everything. And it backfired badly. And then he used the word illegal. Oh, that was a no-no, Joe. Your base and the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media, they don't want to hear you use the phrase illegal immigrant. And he did. And they went into meltdown mode, of course, on the corporate media. And of course, it's Donald Trump's fault. Joe Biden, feeling the pressure from Donald Trump, gave into a Trumpism, referring to this wonderful dreamer house guest of ours as an illegal. He is illegal and a criminal. Couldn't say 10 words about her, but George Floyd, a guy who was a drug addict and rapist and all around just not a good guy. We went on for weeks and months over George Floyd tributes and honoring, et cetera, pandering for votes. That's Joe Biden. A Gold Star dad whose son died as a result of the Biden Afghan withdrawal stood up and yelled out as Joe Biden is lecturing the country on violent crime and MAGA people and violent crime and MAGA people. Gold Star Dad gets up and yells to him from the gallery, "Remember the Marines! Remember the Marines!" and gets arrested for it. Gets arrested. That's how Joe Biden honors our fallen heroes, as those coffins were arriving from Afghanistan. He is clearly seen standing there looking at his watch. He had someplace else to be. He had something more important to do. That's Joe Biden. That was the State of the Union. It was a farce. It was a debacle. And that's really all I have to say about it. I feel bad Donald Trump wanted to troll him on True Social. I knew True Social was going to crash. One, they couldn't handle all of the new people trying to get on. They don't have the server capacity yet. And I am almost positive that there were third parties involved in trying to hack and wreak havoc with the system to embarrass the former president. He got a few shots in, but again, it was in the form of, I know they're not tweets, they're truths or whatever they call them. I really wish he would have gone on a platform like YouTube or Rumble and with a camera just done live reaction as Joe Biden was talking. That would have been classic. That would have been hilarious. But nonetheless, the way you know it was a bad night for Joe Biden is watching the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media fall all over itself, trying to basically declare that this was the greatest speech since, Churchill rallied England to stand up against the Nazis. Yeah, not even close.
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
So Tucker Carlson is concerned that given the evidence that we saw unfold before our very eyes during the State of the Union, that in a free election, a fair election, an honest election, there's absolutely positively no way Joe Biden could win. I agree. And there's no way Donald Trump can lose. I agree. So Tucker was left to conclude they've thrown everything they can at him legally. That's all imploding. That's all backfiring. Although we have to keep an eye on the Fani Willis case, another twist and turn, as the judge deciding that fate, a liberal, a Democrat, a pal of Fani's, is now being challenged by a liberal, civil rights-oriented black judge who wants his job. So will this judge now feel the pressure to do the expedient thing rather than the right thing, which is kick Fannie and her Nathan's hot dog off this case, disqualify them? So another twist and turn there in Georgia. I do believe this, that after everything that's happened, even in Georgia, even in Atlanta, if they keep this legal dream team in place and it plays out in a court, the trial happens, I do believe that based on everything that has happened, everything going on with Fannie Fawny Willis and Nathan's hot dog, that at this point, a jury, even in Atlanta, will find Donald Trump and the co-defendants innocent. I do believe that, but really this whole thing needs to be thrown out. It is nothing more than an embarrassing distraction at this point. So they've thrown all these legal challenges at Trump. He's breezing through and cruising through that. And now they're only left with their main play: cheat. You know, do we resurrect dead people like we did to get JFK in? I mean, what do we, have unsupervised drop boxes where you can just stuff as many votes in there as you want? Can we pull bins out after the official checkers and observers have gone home and just flood the ballots with one name only, nothing else voted on, and we don't worry about verifying the authenticity of the ballots? I mean, what's going to be the gameplay? Illegals. It's illegals. The real reason Joe Biden does not want to close that border. And now, it isn't even just the people crossing illegally. It's the commercial jet lines that are flying in from these other countries, loaded with nothing but illegals, who are being allowed to deplane and filter out into the United States. One of the issues that we hear from time to time is how MAGA and Trump people and MAGA-type candidates are like the KKK, and they're all racist, and they just want to deny black people the right to vote. That's what voter ID is all about. I've always found that to be personally insulting, and if I were a black man, I would really be insulted. That you're saying that as a black man, I'm too dumb to figure out how to get my hands on a legally issued state ID. First of all, a legally issued state ID is a driver's license. So are you telling me every black person I see driving is driving illegally? Of course not. Think about all the things you have to have a driver's license to do. You go to a hotel, you've got to have a driver's license, a state-issued ID. You want to get credit. You want to go to the bank and borrow money to buy a house, buy anything on credit. You've got to be able to prove your ID. You want to get on a plane, you've got to have ID. So this idea that we can't require ID at voting because it's somehow racist, the only people in this country who don't have to have ID for anything are the illegals. We bring them, they just come on in. We don't know where they're from. We can't verify who they are. We don't know about their criminality. We're putting them up in hotels. We're kicking kids out of their own schools so we can use the school buildings as places to house them. In places like Chicago, community centers, they're kicking out the kids that those centers were built for to be a help to those neighbors in that neighborhood. And we're moving illegals in. In New York City, they're being given $1,000 limit credit cards and just turned loose. And they don't have to have ID for anything. They're going to be allowed to vote. They're going to be allowed to vote. They're going to be allowed to vote. And the closer we get to the election, we are going to watch Joe Biden, the guy who's supposedly protecting democracy, because Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy. But have you noticed that anybody that speaks up against Joe Biden ends up in jail? Including a Gold Star dad. A Gold Star dad ended up in jail. Apparently, when he got out, one of his friends took him into a D.C. bar And the D.C. bar was loaded even with Democrats and liberals. But when this dad walked in, he got a standing ovation, which he should have, because that sickened the American people. Unbelievable. Okay, you're moving from the chamber for the disruption. Okay. But then you arrest him on the charge of, what was it, an illegal protest? Who's the threat to democracy? Who is it that keeps putting his political rivals under the scrutiny of the justice system? In other words, if you have the wrong free speech, if you have the wrong political ideology, you could go to jail. Who's doing that? Is that Donald Trump? Is that the MAGA? No, it's the Democrats. It's Joe Biden. So they're going to use illegals to vote. You mark it down. As we get closer, they're going to really weaponize the justice system to go after states and places that require ID. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Especially in the swing states. Especially in places where all of a sudden now Joe Biden is in trouble, like Michigan. Well, you know, those Muslim Arabs, they're never going to vote for Trump. No, they just won't vote. But the auto workers would vote for Trump. And I don't care what the auto union, who they're endorsing, it doesn't matter. The workers know Donald Trump is for them. Here's what I don't understand. I get that the evil billionaires who want to control everything, Joe Biden is their guy. Got it. Why? Why him? He's a dillweed. I mean, he is an absolute rank moron buffoon. I get it. You see him as this empty suit, this puppet, and you can do anything, and he's just going to sign off on it. I got that. But yet, still, there is this thing of public image, you know, the optics of something. He's laughed at by world leaders. He's not seen as strong and decisive. You know, you billionaires, you got a lot more money than brains. Now, I know you're banking your whole future is on endless war and, of course, green energy, you know, electric cars. That now you're seeing car manufacturers, especially in places like Japan, Toyota and Honda saying, we're done. Done with it. We're too far away. We can't keep up with the so-called, these obligatory, on this date you got to have this many. No, not doing it. So, why wouldn't you go with a guy like a Donald Trump? I'm not saying I want the swamp in Team Trump. Why wouldn't you back that guy? He is a billionaire. He likes money. He wants Americans to make money. He wants America to be number one. Can't you guys in your evil cabal figure out a way to make money on that? Can't you figure out that if you can prosper America and Americans and keep us strong and sovereign and nationally secure, in the long run, that actually is the best plan? But of course not. So they're going to cheat. And I get it, and I understand where Tucker is coming from, but I do have hope in this. Two things. One is going to be spiritual. You know, I'm a pastor. I got to get that in there. I do believe in a God who is on the throne, and he has a wonderful way of occasionally showing up in the middle of a situation and reshuffling the deck and making all of the experts and everybody who had part of an evil plot stand there and go, what happened? What happened? What happened? God showed up. He reshuffled the deck. I love it when that happens. But the second thing is, and this is the practical, Donald Trump now has full control of the Republican Party. The rhino, the gave lip service to the Reagan type of republicanism that really wasn't. It was more of the Rockefeller republicanism, is no longer running the show at the RNC. Bump. The new deputy chief, the head of the RNC is now Laura Trump, Eric's wife. And unlike Ivanka, Lara kind of knows what's what and what's going on and where it's happening, and understands everything that the Democrats are doing right now to get ready for shenanigans. And she's going to hit it head on, and she's got her own planning and plotting going on. See, Trump didn't have that in 2020. He didn't have anybody that knew how to fight back. He didn't have anybody that knew how to outmaneuver and be 2 chess moves ahead. He didn't have that running the RNC. He had too many knives out and enemies within his own administration. Mike Pence, you traitorous Judas. And within the RNC in general, Bitch McConnell. Rand Paul for Senate leader. Yes. And what's the other word I'm groping for? Yes, absolutely. Now, that all said, Republicans in this election cycle can't be stupid. See, we didn't lose the red wave in 2022 because of Trump endorsements. No. Nay. Mitch McConnell threw all of the RNC money basically at one candidate in a race we were going to win if Elmer Fudd was the candidate. What he didn't do was throw any money behind anybody like Dr. Oz or Herschel Walker. Those guys actually could have won if they had had some money and some, a way to really, advertise and counterpunch. They would have won. They would have won. Mitch McConnell and Republican leadership and swamp creatures in the Republican Party purposely destroyed elections so they could hang on to their own power. They didn't want Trump loyalists in Congress. That's what happened. Not that the Donald Trump endorsement was a kiss of death. No, nay. Otherwise, you can't explain J.D. Vance. He got the Trump endorsement and got in there. And he's all in now. And some others did as well, but they weren't depending on the RNC to help raise them some money and give them some push and, help them with staffing that was needed and help them, get that last push over. So you had outsiders like Herschel Walker and Dr. Oz and others who they didn't have access to what they needed to finish the campaign. And that was by design of Mitch McConnell. Donald Trump, with the remaking of the RNC, has all that in place now. And again, though, Republicans can't be stupid. A winning issue for us was the Roe versus Wade. I know how Joe Biden likes to try to spin this, especially to liberal females and females in general. Republicans are coming and they want a national ban on abortion. No, that's not the Republican plank. That's Lindsey Graham's plank. And Lindsey Graham did not say that in 2022 because he's just a committed pro-life man. No, he is a rhino. He is an operative of the deep state working inside the Republican Party, in saying that he knew that was going to blow up all kinds of chances for all kinds of new candidates. It was done deliberately and on purpose. All that had to be said with what the Supreme Court did was Roe versus Wade was bad law because it was decided by the court and not by Congress. All we have ever been fighting for is to kick this back to the states. Let the states, on an individual basis, fight this out. It's a states' rights issue. And that's all Donald Trump has to say now, and is all he will say now when he gets pressed on. Are you for a national ban? Are you for... I'm for every state working this out. That's what I'm for. And I'm against late term and post-birth abortion. He stays right there in that lane and gets all the Republicans to do the same. We will weather the storm that's coming, that they're going to try to hit us this election cycle over the abortion issue. So while I do understand they're going to cheat and cheat big, I also understand that now that Donald Trump has seized control of the Republican Party and we're moving out the neocons, we're moving out the Mitt Romneys and the Mitch McConnells and moving in the right people, i.e. Rand Paul, we still have a huge fighting chance. And I'm telling you, and you know I've been saying this off and on for the past year, there is a verse in the Bible: the curse causeless shall not come. That God has a way that when somebody is doing something nefarious and they're aiming it at you, God has a way of allowing that to turn and boomerang right back on them. We've watched it with these indictments that everything they've tried with Trump has failed. Because I really do believe this. This is the election cycle that determines whether or not we can turn things around. Because if we don't, and they are successful in I have to be careful how I say that, America's gone. America's done. Your rights are gone. Everything is just done. So when Joe Biden in his senile rant he called a State of the Union, wanted to talk about peace and civility, really, as you throw your political opponents in jail, when you talk about honesty and integrity and you lie about Burisma, when you lie about your son Hunter and your business dealings and the grift going on with Ukraine, when you lie, then you want to lecture us about integrity? Give me a break. 2024, baby. Trump is large. He is in charge. And I'm telling you, the Trump train is coming.